shorter. We're going to talk about finding the volume of cubes and rectangular prisms that actually have the unit cubes in them. So let's begin. Here, of course, you learned to count each block because you could see them, each cube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you knew this as 5 units cubed or cubic units, and by counting each and every one of them. So there's an actual quicker way to do this that will work only if you have cubes and rectangular prisms with no gaps or funny shapes or different additions to different levels, and it's all like one solid flat surface on all 6 sides, if you will. So if we look at this, this shape is actually a rectangular prism because it's in the shape of a rectangle and it takes up space. It's 3-dimensional. That's why it's called a prism. And if we look here, we have something called a length, we have something called a width, and we have something called a height. So if I count how many are going on this length, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this side is 5 units long. And if I look here, this is 1 unit. This is UN. That's a UN there too. Wide. And how tall it is 1 unit tall. So to find volume, which is represented with a capital V, all I need to do for volume is find the length times the width times the height. Now, when we write this is called a formula, and it represents certain parts of a mathematical problem, that mathematical algorithm that you need to solve. We use a L with a little hook at the end so that it doesn't look like the numeral 1. So to find the volume of this rectangular prism, all you would do is take the length, which was 5, and multiply it by the width, which was 1, and then multiply it by the height, which was 1, and your answer is 5 units cubed. 5 times 1 times 1 is 5. And that's how, oops, I ran out of space there. That's a 3. There should be no 1 there. Okay, so let's look at this one. So for this shape, we have the length is how long. I usually go length is how long something is. So L for length, L for long. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this side is 4 long. And the width is how wide it is. So this is a 1 wide. And then height is how tall it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this side is 5 tall. So our volume would be 4 times 1 times 5. Sometimes in math, as I've already taught you and you'll remember, multiplication symbols now are represented with those dots, multiplication dots in the between. We know we automatically multiply. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 20 units cubed. That's oh, it's not making my 3 very well. That's a 3 right there. Okay. Now let's take a look at this one. So for this one, my length is 1, 2, 3, 4 long. My width is 1, 2, 3 wide, and the height is 1, 2, 3 tall. So my volume here is 4 times 3 times 3. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 3 more is 36. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 30 units, 36 cubic units, or 36 units cubed. Okay. Now let's take a look at this one. So this one is 4 long and 3 wide. And let's see how the height, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The height is 5. So our volume for this one is 3 times 4 times 5. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 times 5 is 60. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 60 cubic units, or units cubed. Okay. Right. Now let's look at this next one. All right, let's take a look. Oh, this is a cube. How do I know that? Well, we're going to find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that side. And the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the height. So volume here is 5 times 5 times 5. Now, how I know that's a cube is all of the sides are exactly the same length, the length, the width, and the height. Now, some people will ask, well, can you represent the width for the length and length for width? Yeah, those are interchangeable. So one could be length, but it could also be the width, or one could be width and it could also be the length. So if you get those mixed up, it's okay. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125 cubic units. All right. So let's take a look at this one. So this one we have going, the width here is 1, 2, 3, 4. The length is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the height is 1, 2, 3. So the volume here is 4 times 4 times 3. So 4 times 4 is 16. And some of you, if you can't do it in your head, can go off to the side away from your problem, so it's not mixed in, and multiply so you can find your answer, and multiply it vertically. So the answer is 48 cubic units. It takes 48 cubes to make that entire rectangular prism. So there's 48 cubes. So the ones that you can't see that are hidden, this is how you know how many are there. So you're counting correctly, is just taking the length times the width times the height to find out what the volume is, how many cubes it took to make up that whole space. So, just to remind you, volume is found by taking the length, multiplying it by the width, and then multiplying it by the height. So length times width times height. So length times width times height. Okay? And remember, we put that little hook on the L so it doesn't look like the numeral 1. Now go on and move on to your math assignment and do the worksheets on cubes with rectangular prisms using this formula to find volume. Volume equals length times width times height.